Welcome back. Since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas, anti-Semitic threats and incidents have risen dramatically. Nashville is no exception. And the White House is now taking a tougher stand on how Israel conducts the war in the wake of growing civilian casualties.
The Secure Community Network has seen record highs in anti-Semitic crimes, including vandalism, harassment, and assaults. In October, it documented over 700 incidents nationwide. That number is up 290% from last year.
It was distressing to receive threats in the way that we did, and quickly saw on the email, because it was sent to multiple organizations, that we as the Federation were certainly not alone, that this was a community-wide blanketing effort of psychological terror.
According to Rabbi Horwitz, the email was concise and effectively said explosive devices had been planted around various institutions with the intention to kill people because they are Jewish. The Metro Nashville Police Department and the Secure Community Network were alerted. The Nashville threats are one of many in a national trend to harass and intimidate American Jews.
This is a type of psychological warfare where folks are trying to make Jewish people feel unsafe in their homes as Americans, which is obviously completely unacceptable.
In a monthly community crime meeting for the West End, a commander with Metro Nashville Police said they will have extra patrol and sky cops at all Jewish facilities in the Bellevue area as a precaution. MNPD and the FBI are working together to keep everyone safe, as well as uncovering the source of these emails.
Historically, there's a pretty good track record of being able to track down and locate the people who are doing these kinds of things.
Threats against the Jewish community have been growing since the start of the Israel-Hamas war, and concerns are growing the war could expand.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says he encouraged Israel's war cabinet to take steps to reduce civilian deaths in Gaza.
A lower intensity and more surgical operations.
The war, now in its third month, has left more than an estimated 19,000 Palestinians dead.
We are fighting a brutal enemy that hides behind civilians.
While Israeli officials insist they are already following international law, they also signaled their forces will make adjustments.
We need to get to different performances on the ground before we move to the next phase.
Leaders did not announce a timeline for the, quote, next phase. But Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is clear. Israel will not stop its military campaign until Hamas is defeated and hostages are free.
We will prevail.
Monday's high-profile meeting comes after Israeli forces admitted to accidentally killing 3 Israeli hostages who were seeking their help in Gaza.
We got to get a ceasefire. This has to stop.
On NBC's Meet the Press Sunday, Michigan Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell said the U.S. must consider the losses on both sides.
A Jewish baby and a Palestinian baby are babies. I don't want to see any baby die.
In an attempt to address the rising humanitarian crisis inside of Gaza, the administration says Israel opened a second pathway for aid over the weekend.
But we're hearing the amount of resources, including water, getting inside of Gaza is still vastly short of what the more than 1 million Palestinians displaced there need. One human rights group based in New York accused Israel of intentionally starving the people of Gaza, but Israel contends Hamas is stealing resources from civilians.
As tensions remain high in the Middle East, a new multinational group assembled to protect commercial ships in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden after Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen have launched more than a dozen attacks on commercial vessels recently. Dubbed Operation Prosperity Guardian, the task force includes the U.S., UK, France, and other countries who are lending resources. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin unveiling the coalition while in the Middle East and warning Iran of retaliatory options.
We're going to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to ensure freedom of navigation in the area.
Smoke seen in Gaza along with explosions and fires Tuesday as Israeli troops launched more strikes. Israeli President Isaac Herzog said Tuesday he's open to another break from the fighting, but says it is up to Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar.
Israel is ready for another humanitarian pause and additional humanitarian aid in order to enable the release of hostages. And the responsibility lies fully with Sinwar and the leadership of Hamas.
The humanitarian situation in Gaza continues to deteriorate. The death toll now topping 19,000, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. The ministry also says more than 355,000 skin and infectious diseases have been detected. ABC's producer in Gaza visiting a soup kitchen that is feeding around 1,000 people per day of the more than 1 million displaced overall. As the U.S. urges Israel to move into a lower intensity stage of fighting, more than 120 hostages remain in Hamas captivity. CIA Director Bill Burns is meeting with Israeli and Qatari counterparts in Europe as they are hoping to help negotiate another humanitarian pause to allow for an additional hostage prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas. In Washington, Liz Landers, ABC News.
Stay with us. This Week continues in a moment. Thanks for spending part of your Christmas weekend with us. That will do it for another edition of This Week. We hope to see you back here next weekend for another edition of This Week. You have a great week between now and then, and a very Merry Christmas.